Trump wants to end welfare as Bill Clinton knows it. Overhauling welfare was one of the defining goals of Bill Clinton's presidency, starting with a campaign promise to end welfare as we know it, continuing with a bitter policy fight and producing change that remains hotly debated 20 years later. Now, President Trump wants to put his stamp on the welfare system, apparently in favor of more restrictive policy. He says people are taking advantage of the system. Trump, who has been signaling interest in the issue for some time, said this past week that he wants to tackle the issue after the tax overhaul he is seeking by the end of the year. He said changes were desperately needed in our country, and that in his administration would soon offer plans. For now, the president has not offered details. Spokeswoman Sarah Huckabee Sanders said more specifics were likely early next year. Groundwork has already begun at the White House, and Trump has made his interest known to Republican lawmakers. Paul Winfrey, director of the Budget Policy and deputy director of Trump's Domestic Policy Council, told a recent gathering at the Conservative Heritage Foundation that he and another staffer had been charged with working on a major welfare reform proposal. He said they have drafted an executive order on the topic that would outline administration principles and direct agencies to come up with recommendations. The president really wants to lead on this, Winfrey said. He has delivered that message loud and clear to us. We've opened conversations with leadership in Congress to let them know that that is the direction we are heading. Trump said in October that welfare was becoming a very, very big subject and people are taking advantage of the system. Clinton ran in 1992 on a promise to change the system but struggled to get consensus on a bill, with Democrats divided and Republicans pushing aggressive changes. 4 years later, he signed a law that replaced a federal entitlement with grants to the states, placed a time limit on how long families could get aid, and required recipients to go to work eventually. It has drawn criticism from some liberal quarters ever since. During her presidential campaign last year, Democrat Hillary Clinton faced activists who argued that the law fought for by her husband punished poor people. Catherine Eden, a professor at Johns Hopkins University who has been studying welfare since the 1990s, said the law's legacy has been to limit the cash assistance available to the very poor and has never become a springboard to work. She questioned what kinds of changes could be made, arguing that welfare benefits are minimal in many states and that there is little evidence of fraud in other anti-poverty programs. Still, Eden said that welfare has never been popular even from its inception. It doesn't sit well with Americans in general. Robert Rector, a senior research fellow at Heritage, said he would like to see more work requirements for a range of anti-poverty programs and stronger marriage incentives, as well as strategies to improve results for social programs and to limit waste. He said while the administration could make some adjustments through executive order, legislation would be required for any major change. This is a good system, he said. We just need to make this system better. Administration officials have already suggested they are eyeing anti-poverty programs. Trump's initial 2018 budget proposal, outlined in March, sought to sharply reduce spending for Medicaid, food stamps, and student loan subsidies, among other programs. Budget Director Mick Mulvaney said, this year, if you are on food stamps and you are able-bodied, you need to go to work. All right, folks, there you have it. Everybody knew it was coming. He ran on it. He talked about it in March. He put it severe cuts for aid programs in his budget that he outlined. Now they're going to take a hacksaw to it. When they make these major tax cuts that he just did and to give the military more money to go out and do what they do, the money has to come from somewhere. Either you're going to have to put it on a credit card or you're going to have to take it from poor folks. It'd be difficult to take it from middle-class taxpayers because middle-class taxpayers do have some kind of clout where the poor don't. So Trump is going to decide to go out and kick the cat. So Section 8 Medicaid, food stamps, all these things are on the chopping block, and nobody knows how deep the cuts are actually going to go or how fast they're going to cut. So this is just a heads up. All the proposals, all the line items haven't been drawn yet, but he is no fan of welfare. He is no fan of entitlements. There are already work requirements in for food stamps already. He's already done that. He's done that in many states. A lot of states got a lot of people off of food stamps. A lot of states are instituting work requirements for Section 8. You know, welfare is the last piece. It's going to be a hell of a lot harder to touch Medicaid and Medicare. It's a lot harder to touch that. What they really want to touch up is Social Security. But that's another one that's going to be hard to touch up. So, you know, the folks that aren't ready for this, for Big Booty Brenda and Pookie and Ray Ray, that y'all hanging out together because y'all basically living off of Big Daddy government, it's time to get your ass back in school, get a trade. You're going to have to find something to do real quick and take this funding, because I know there's going to be funding for some kind of education to get you back to work for what jobs there are. But the thing is, you need to start formalizing plans. You need to get yourself in an area where rent is a little cheaper. You still need to start getting strategic. Instead of asking, where's my check? You need to say, where's my paycheck? Because the hustle is going to get a hell of a lot harder. And you got a Republican Congress with a no nonsense, narcissistic president that doesn't give a shit about poor folks. The cuts not only are coming, they've already started. You know, Obama started this stuff back when he was president. He started this back in 2013. The cuts are just going to get more heavy-handed. The money's got to come from somewhere. That last budget where they gave rich people all that money, you're robbing Paul to pay Peter instead of the other way around. It is what it is. There's nothing you can do about it. All you can do is survive it. Black women especially. The hustle is over. And even the education hustle where you can actually get school loans, they're getting ready to close that down. They have to close it down because it's getting out of hand, and there's not going to be any jobs. So banks know they're not going to get repaid, and the government's not going to do it. So words to the wise, you got to get off your ass and get your hustle on. Get your education game on. I'm not talking about getting a 4-year degree and tiddlywinks. Talking about get yourself a trade, whether it's healthcare, whether it's nursing, even if even go to school and get some kind of certificate in drug counseling. All them white folks that are shooting up with these opium in their arms need to go somewhere. They're going to pay for that, trust and believe. So you need to be aware. But anyway, I'm going to get off of here, make this short. This is BGS out. I'm going to see you guys on the next one.